For aspiring young cricketers, a tour of England and playing on the hallowed turf of Lords is something to cherish. In my time, I toured England on 5 occasions between 1973 and 1990. But this is the story of the 1949 New Zealand cricket team tour to England. They were known as the 49ers, and no other team in the history of New Zealand cricket were known by the year in which they played. The 49ers were a special group of players who played for each other, they supported each other, they enjoyed each other's company on an 8-month cricket tour.
Walter Hadley sort of laid out the whole tour with his accountancy background, laid the tour out exactly, planned it minutely, day after day after day.
Yeah, the planning was important. I had certain sites in my mind.
He brought his accountancy skills into work by saying, now, all right, I expect you to, you know, if you went and said, he'd come to you and say, now, Jerry, I reckon I want you to be able to finish out the tour with at least 1,400 runs. Now, that's your target. He did this with everybody.
Well, God bless him, he's got it all down in this little black book.
I told the team on the ship that I had 3 targets in particular.
Who was going to field where when the new ball was on, and where they were going to field when Tom Burt came on and when somebody else came on.
We play about 30 matches. We want to win 15 outright, at a minimum. I want a century in every match we play, so I want 30 centuries, not for the individuals, but every century you make is for the team. You'll get the credit, but you're playing for the team. The only time that there will be a run out will be when we are chasing runs in a hurry and taking risks justifiably, or when somebody makes a miracle throw from the boundary and they happen to hit the wicket and you're a few inches short.
Had the whole thing systematically set down on board ship over 4 weeks, what he was expecting each player to do in 4.5 months.
That's my target for you, for the team, for all of us.
How many overs he thought you would bowl, for example, and where he thought you would best bat. It might change during the course of the tour, but that was it. He'd try and settle it, you know. If not, then during the course of a couple of practice weeks before you kicked off.
That was a way of sort of, you know, a broad plan of where we wanted to be.
We kept a diary, a day-by-day, blow-by-blow diary, which he's still got now, should be in the Hall of Fame.
Every day on the ship we met at a specified time. I think it would be about 5 o'clock at night, but we would go into the lounge and nobody on the ship would ever take our places.
That's where we learnt what camaraderie meant. When we come from all over New Zealand.
We had people like Creswell who never played a first-class match, didn't really know what to do.
He didn't know much about cricket, he didn't know much about bowling, but by golly, he learned so much on the Dominion Monarch.
We kept losing him on board ship. Someone had to go out and find him when the team talks on, that sort of thing, you know, he wasn't used to it. And so in that sense, we were lucky to have time to get to know each other.
By the time we got to Southampton and got off the vessel, and before we started to play cricket, we learnt a lot.
When they got to England in '49, they knew one another very well. The only person they didn't know was Martin Donnelly.
The difference in terms of the few days we had in 37 and a whole month in 49 at Eastbourne, where we were able to not only get quite a lot of practice, but get accustomed to English conditions.
We arrived on the 2nd of April and we weren't due to start till the 30th of April.
We went down to Eastbourne and played in the rain quite often because that's what happens in England, early April.
The New Zealand cricketers who are playing here this coming season have now arrived. Here are some of the team taking a look at London soon after landing. If they haven't yet experienced cricket weather, they may be sure at any rate of a warm welcome. Already they've been practicing at Lords. Here's Sutcliffe, a fine left-hander with many centuries to his credit. Cowie is a fast medium bowler likely to lead the attack. Wallace, vice-captain, is an excellent bat. Hadley is the New Zealand skipper and a polished batsman of wide experience. Reid, Sutcliffe, Hayes and Wallace at practice. All reports agree that the visitors are a strong and attractive team.
The tour itinerary was very intense. There were over 100 days of cricket scheduled. Once the team got into May, it was often 6 days a week of cricket. When a game had finished, there was travel between cities and towns overnight, and the team was expected to play the next day. There was much demand for the players both on and off the field.
Not only did we have time to attend the functions that we were scheduled, and we always enjoyed these functions, Cricket Writers Club dinner and a British Sportsman of the Year dinner and several others, press company dinner. They were, they were great because they had people we'd heard about, but never had the opportunity of meeting.
Meet some very good cricketers. Hear legends talked about. We even met a chap who was sent off an All Black in the 1924 Test series. I've forgotten his name, but I was very uncomfortable looking at him and thinking about him. What a terrible burden he's carried all those years.
We were meeting people who were just legendary, the heads of the administration.
You can imagine what it's like just after the war. And requests came in, holders, bowlers for the team to be here, there and everywhere.
They distributed food parcels. There was still, we're talking 1949, we think the war's over and everything's picked up and it's right. But it wasn't right. And so they did all the good things.
We arrived at St Pancras Station after a very disturbed night on the train. This was after the first test. Woke early, wrote family a letter to family and off the train at 6:30 a.m. Took a coach to Waterloo Station where we sat on the station and in the restaurant and write more letters. I write Lilla, but I'm tired and not at all in the mood for letter writing. Then we left Waterloo at 8:30 and got down to Southampton and lost the toss for the 7th time. The wicket looks dry, etc. And we did pretty well there.
My job was made easy by the cricket knowledge of the players with whom I was associated. They learnt a lot, I know. We all learnt something on the tour. But this team did operate as a team. And I cannot speak too highly of the full support which was given me at all times by every member of the side without exception.
The 49ers deserve the highest praise for what they achieved during the tour and what they've done for New Zealand cricket. In my opinion, they should never ever be forgotten, and they will always remain part of the folklore of New Zealand cricket.